Okay, so let's talk about Bella's friends for a second. So this was supposed to be about the human characters in the story, but there aren't many characters she interacts with except from her mom and her dad. So this is mainly about her friends. So in the book, she has a lot more friends than she does in the movie. And so in the book, there is Angela, there is Eric, there is Jessica, there is Mike, there is Lauren, there is Tyler, there is Ben. So if you've never read the books and you've only ever watched the movies, you will not know Ben and Lauren. And the reason for that is they have been merged with the other characters. And the reason they did that is they don't serve a single purpose in the entire story. So if Bella's friends don't serve a single point in the entire story. So there's that. So I decided to do the same thing that the movies did. I merged Lauren with Jessica and Ben with Eric because one, I have less to deal with, and two, it's like the only logical choice. I also thought about maybe merging Mike and Eric to a single character, just because Mike's entire point is to be like, I don't like Edward, I want to be with you. And Eric's entire point is, I don't know, the same, I think. So, yeah, let's go this step by step. Let's start with talking about Angela. So, from what I remember in the books, she's described as being very shy, very kind of quiet, and that's it. That's her entire character, and I think I remember that Bella said that she really likes Angela, that she's a very good friend, that they kind of have a good relationship to one another, which I think is nice. The thing is, I also looked into the wiki for some more inspiration because I did that mainly for the Cullens, but because most of their backstory is explained in, I think, Eclipse and or Breaking Dawn, I don't know, and I didn't want to wait that long until for writing the characters for the first book. The thing is that um, yeah, I'm currently in New Moon, so I didn't want to finish New Moon because that's a mess. So yeah, I wanted to get this over with as quickly as possible. So I also looked into the characters, like the human characters. So I found out that Angela is supposed to be very tall, and the reason she kind of was very awkward about asking Ben for a date is because she thought that maybe her height is going to be a problem. And I don't remember that, but I think I'm going to keep that detail that she's very tall. I think in the wiki she was described as, I don't know, it converted to 185 centimeters, which was tall enough for my taste. And because and I also read she's the child of a Lutheran preacher. So I was like, okay, so what can we do with that? So I thought about maybe she's going to be like a kindergarten teacher. I don't know if you can study that in America, but in Germany you can, or like just a teacher, elementary school teacher, like she does something with kids. I also thought about like making her an art student, like art history or like painting, like classic art, not like illustration or animation or something, but like art. um, that's why I also dressed her the way that I did, like in the big sweater, in the long skirt with the glasses, the hairband. The hairband is something I kept from the movies because I thought it was cute. Also, the glasses were apart from the movie that I liked about Angela. Um, so yeah, she's kind of going to be like a very soft kind of person, very like kind, nice, yeah, shy but sociable. So there's Angela. I don't know about her major. We're gonna figure that out, but that's kind of the direction I wanted her to go. The next is Eric. I remember in the book Bella mentioned that he looked like a geek, like the type of person who would be in the chess club. I also remember that she said that he has poor complexion. And the wiki also mentioned that he in the book was described as Asian. I don't remember that. I mean, in the movie he was portrayed by an Asian actor, but I don't remember that in the book. I think Bella said pale. I mean, of course there are pale Asians, but I don't remember her being like he's Asian. So, but I decided to keep that because the movie did that, and I think a little bit of diversity would be nice. He was also described as wearing business-like clothing, which I have no idea what that means. So for me that means that he's walking every day to school with a suit. I don't know. Um, so that's kind of like I took that into the same direction as Angela, that he's going to be like the teacher kind of person, like he dresses like a teacher. And that's basically the gist of him. I don't know about his personality because he doesn't have any in the book, and that's also the reason why I thought about merging him with Mike, because I don't know what to do with him. Yeah, that's mostly it about him. I thought about if he's a geek, maybe I could make him like a computer science major, or he studies physics or astrology or astrophysics, or I don't know, like some kind of stuff like that. But yeah, there isn't more to him than that currently. Then we have Jessica. Jessica is described as being like a very outgoing kind of person. She talks very much, and the wiki says that in the retelling of the first book from Edward's point of view, the only reason she's friends with Bella is to get a little bit of her personality. The only reason she's friends with Bella is to get a little bit of her popularity with the guys, which doesn't work out. Um, which is very weird, I think. But to me, she came across as the stupid blonde type of girl, but in the book, she's described as having brown hair. And Lauren is described as having blonde hair, so I kind of took that from Lauren's character. So we ended up with Jessica. Like in my version, I think she's going to be a little bit nicer, a little bit less preppy. But I still wanted her to dress the part, so I gave her like on my screen it appears way brighter than it does on my phone. So so she's less bright, but I pretended her to wear like pink and orange and like very kind of, yeah, let's call them feminine colors, very cute clothes, very, yeah, kind of like the type of clothing that a preppy girl would wear in a bigger city, because I decided to keep the small town vibe of Forks. That's not going to take place in Forks, but that's the vibe. So yeah, about Jessica, yeah, I think that's it. She could be a cosmetology student. I don't know what I want to do with her. Maybe give her something very contrasting, like maybe she's in school for, I don't know, maybe she's in school for physics, who knows. That's something I will figure out with time. And then lastly, we have Mike. In the recording, you will be able to see that I kind of lost interest in drawing him. Like I kind of gave up with him and his design because I don't know what to do with him. Bella describes him in the book as a golden retriever kind of person, and he's described as having blonde hair and blue eyes, and his entire personality is that he's jealous of Edward. That's the entire thing. So I think you can see the reason why I wanted to merge him with Eric to a single character, because there's so little to them. There's so little to them. Yeah. Mike, I don't know. I think he seems like the kind of person who would be like in the sports team or something. I don't know what to do with him. Maybe I'm gonna cut him entirely. I don't know. Originally, I wanted to cut Eric, but then I was like, yeah, Eric has more of a personality than Mike, just from the fact that Bella thinks he looks like a geek. That's all. Then a character I didn't draw was Tyler, because Tyler is the guy, if you don't know, who also has a crush on Bella, but he's the guy that almost runs Bella over, both in the movie and the book. And I decided to cut him entirely because that scene is not going to happen. And outside of that scene, Tyler has no bearing on the entire story. So there's that. One thing I found funny about Tyler is apparently his last name is Crowley. I was like, that's a weird choice. I found it funny. There's nothing else to that. So I decided to cut him, but just for completion's sake, he was described as being tall, athletic, and I think in the basketball team. I don't know. I'm not sure. That's all to his character. Like he has more character than Mike. Yeah. Like I said, we're gonna cut Lauren and Ben because I have no idea who Ben is, except that he's Angela's boyfriend in the book. And the deal with Lauren, is that she's just like mean to Bella. Like when they go to the beach in La Push or La Push, I don't know. She's just like, yeah, why didn't you bring Edward here? And she's like mean, and that's her entire personality. She's mean. And then the other two characters I didn't draw because I didn't change anything about their personality or design are Bella's parents, Charlie and Renee. There's also Phil, but Phil is mentioned I think twice or thrice in the book, and in the movie he actually appears, but in the books I think Phil never appears once in the entire series as a character. He's just mentioned, he's just there. For those of you who don't know, Phil is the new boyfriend of Bella's mom. There's nothing more to him, and he plays baseball. That's important. So I didn't make any changes to Charlie because Charlie's character is he's police chief and he's a nice, awkward, loving dad. That's his entire character. I decided to not change anything about him. He's the only good character in this entire story, but he's so treated like a second character, but he's so important. So Charlie's good. I decided to keep his appearance from the movie because I think it fitted. I kind of imagined Charlie the same way he looked in the movie, even with the mustache. And Renee, she's described as looking like Bella, but with short hair and wrinkles. I think that's all description given about her, and I read a little bit in between the lines, and she is kind of eccentric. She's very volatile. Like Bella said, they weren't religious because her mom started going to church but quickly lost interest in that. I think kind of something about that along those lines. So she's very volatile. She's kind of an airhead, which raises the question, how the fuck was she able to raise Bella on her own? But I found that interesting because that gives Bella a little bit more of a backstory, and I decided to keep that because I can work with that, even though if I'm going to change things that are not in the original. And of course there are other human characters, but I think especially in Twilight, they, in the first book, they don't serve much of a purpose, like the teachers. There is no reason to draw them. There's no reason to give them a lot of character, except if they're going to be central for the story. Other than that, I think that's mostly it. So in the next video, I don't know if I'm going to do a double upload, but in the next video we're going to talk about the Cullens, because the Cullens are an interesting bunch. I wanted to talk a lot about them. And talking about the Cullens also means talking about the vampire myth, because listen, everybody hates the sparkle thing, okay? Even though if in the supplement book, dictionary, whatever you want to call it, it's described why they sparkle, the explanation is so stupid, because basically the explanation is they're dusty. And the older the vampire is, the more dusty they get, the more they sparkle. I also made some changes to Edward because that's necessary. If I cut Cullens or if I don't, that's kind of up in the air still. I think I mentioned on Twitter that I wanted to cut Esme and Emmett, but I fucking love Emmett so much I don't want to cut him, honestly. But that's something for the other video, so we're gonna talk about the Cullens and the vampire myth in the next video and the vampire details. And after that, I think we are set and we can actually talk about the storage structure. And after that, there's probably going to be a little bit of a drought in terms of videos, because I will be focused on writing the story, and I will probably not going to be able to upload anything about that, like progress or something. That I don't think that's interesting. So that's all. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. And until next time. Bye.